We talk to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Lance Dean Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Outcast Creative channel, our first live stream of 2025. I have to keep that in my head so I don't say 2024. In case you're thinking I sound a bit croaky, that would be absolutely right. I'm going to come on camera in a little bit, but just to pre-warn you, I'm wrapped up like a sausage with about 50 layers on and look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So not in the best of form currently, but I did not wish to postpone this interview any longer. And, you know, at the end of the day, if you're responsible for your own content, you can't afford to keep taking days off work. You've got to be hard on yourself when you're your own boss. And I am a bit like that. So, as you will know, if you've been checking on some of my other posts and also the rave videos I've been dropping in 2024 in particular, although this journey started in 2022, I've been getting back out on the London and slightly beyond London dance events and music scene, including house music, trance music, hard house, pretty much every other category in between. I'm not entirely sure I know what all of them mean yet, because they seem to vary on a daily basis. Through that scene, I've met loads of wonderful people. I've made loads of wonderful friends. I already had friends within that scene. As it is, I'm hoping to get my good friend Danny Rampling on this year for an interview when we can sort out the schedules. But the other thing that I'm doing is I'm also supporting lots of other DJs and bringing them to your attention in case you haven't heard of them before, supporting their careers, telling you about the events that they've got coming up, and also hearing their stories about how they got involved in the music scene. How did they get started? You know, what were those first dance tracks that got them on the dance floor? And my guest today is none other than the wonderful house music DJ Claire Flanigan. Am I pronouncing that surname correctly?
Yeah, that's right. Flanigan's correct.
Thank God for that. Okay, good. That off to a good start then. I am going to have a co-host. The Inside Man is going to be joining us shortly. He is having connection issues with his Windows. He just sent me a message, so we'll soldier on regardless. Claire, thanks for giving up your time coming on today. Great to speak to you again. Sorry we had to
thanks for having me.
No worries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with some really quick fire questions for you. There's no right or wrong answers. Just to get a sense of what your own personal creative journey has been in terms of the kind of culture that's influenced you. Some of this will be music related questions because, of course, that's the thrust of our conversation today. But can I take you back to when you were a wee bairn, so to speak? What would have been the first movie that you can remember seeing on a big screen?
I think I was probably about 4, and it was E.T. So that would have been probably 1984-ish. I was watching it. I think I was with my parents, and we were at some friends' houses, and we were with some other children. So that was my first sort of memory.
Oh, so that was on the TV. Was that
that would have been TV. Then we went to see it at the cinema.
You did see it at the cinema. Because there was that pirate copy doing the rounds, wasn't there? There was that pirate copy doing the rounds back then. I know because a friend of mine had it as well. And actually, I saw the copy of it before I saw it on the big screen. And for the film studios watching, I've been to see it on the big screen 5 times, just saying. So, and bought the DVD.
It's magical film.
Yeah, that's a great first film memory. What was the last film you went to see on the big screen, and how long ago?
Not long ago. It was Wicked with my daughter for her birthday, for her 12th birthday.
Fabulous.
So we went to that. Her birthday was the 10th of December, so I think we went on the 14th of December. So that would have been the last time.
I bet she loved it. Big
she loved it. She went with her best friend.
And have you guys seen the original music on stage? Have you seen the original production?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Better put that on the bucket list. I think.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
let's get into some of the musical music influences when you were younger. Can you remember the first single? Do you remember when there were 7-inch singles? I'm not making an assumption about your age here. We may be going wrong, but our Price Records used to have that section: 7-inch singles, 12-inch singles, and then you have your albums in the trays. Do you remember what the first single was that you purchased with your own money?
Yeah, I think the single would have been a Madonna. It was either Madonna or a Michael Jackson track. So I would have been probably about 9 or 10. I think it was my birthday and I remember going. But it would have been a CD. It was a CD when I got it.
Right.
CD.
So,
yes.
So when you first started buying, when you first started buying physical media, it was the era of CDs then.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I would have been probably about 9 or 10.
Yeah, you probably came about 10 years after me. I'm definitely showing and looking my age today. In terms of like must-have first album, do you remember what that? I must have that album. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, it probably would have been a Michael Jackson Bad. I think it was Bad or Thriller. It was one of those. But I was also into Janet Jackson as well. I really love Janet Jackson.
I have both of those Michael Jackson albums on vinyl. So
amazing.
Yeah, fab stuff. I also have a 12-inch Madonna. You know, the ones you got when you got her face printed on it or some sort of picture printed on it?
Yes.
And it's Cherish the Thought, whatever the song, Cherish, I think it was. It was number one for a few weeks. I was a bit of a Madonna fan. Didn't tell a lot of my mates that, but I was a bit of a Madonna fan. Okay.
Yeah. I was actually watching the documentary was on the Madonna documentaries on Sky. So I was watching that the other day actually about her life and
is that a new
how
one?
she started. Yeah, it's just on Sky. So I think I watched Vici on Netflix, and then I've also watched Madonna over the weekend.
I will be sure to check that out. I didn't know they'd done a new one, and there's so much content to
really good
these days. You're kind of dependent on mates' recommendations when you might miss something. So thanks for letting me know that. What is your go-to binge TV drama series, if you have one that you've seen in the last 20 years? Whether it was Sopranos or a lot of people say The Wire is a popular choice. Breaking Bad is a popular choice. Did you have a show like that?
So many different ones, isn't there? Breaking Bad, that was a good one. That was a really good one, actually. I like quite a lot of the gangster sort of movies and things like that, which are on as well, which are always quite good to watch.
Yeah. That's watching any of the old classics. Got a favourite oldie movie like It's a Wonderful Life or anything like that?
Not so much. Probably more things like Pretty Woman and things like that.
I was at the very first screening of Pretty Woman. Our cinema was picked to do a screening of it to test
Amazing.
it.
You can watch it again and again.
Within 10 minutes of watching that film, I thought I was the usher on the screen. I thought this is going to be a massive hit. I actually write about that in my new book. It is a great. That's a film I can sit and watch anytime, and it's not because of Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. It's because of Laura San Giacomo, who plays the best mate, who steals every scene she's in. And then the actor Hector Alonso, who plays the hotel manager, he steals every scene he's in. Just love him in that movie. Okay, so you're a DJ predominantly on house music scene. Is that a fair overview?
Yes, for me, it's just obviously it's more of a hobby. So in my, I've got a daytime job, so I'm a PA to managing director in my day job, and then the DJ side is more of a hobby sort of aspect. But obviously, I'm still learning. I'm still very new to the scene with the DJ, and I've been obviously dancing and going to events for sort of over 20 years. But with DJing, it's only been sort of 3 years that I've been sort of into it, so it's still quite an early journey for me in that side of things. So do you remember
the first time that you, with or without parents' permissions, as the case may have been, went clubbing and where that was?
Yeah, so the first place I went to, it was actually on a Thursday night back in, would have been 99, Hanover Grand in Mayfair, which was Malibu Stacy, I believe.
Yeah. I never went to that, but I heard a lot about it.
Yeah, so that was really good night. And I think following that, used to go to like the Cross and Turnmills, usually on a different nights. I know the Cross used to have a night called Renaissance and Fiction that I would sort of go to. And then Turnmills had the gallery. So I used to kind of like alternate the nights there.
Yeah.
Every weekend. There was another club in Watford called the Area, where Brandon Block and Alex P, Jamie Healy would DJ. So that was on a Friday night. So that was another place which was a really good club. And then following that, we'd finish it soon. And
even at that age, would you, when you first went clubbing, would you start following particular DJs and travel to particular events because they were playing?
Yeah, so I think at first, when I first started hearing, sort of bought my CDs when I was about 15, 16, some of the rave CDs, and also Danny Rampling got into his sort of music, and Dave Morales. And then from that, Brandon Block, sort of Alex P, and then you'd sort of I used to read a lot of the magazines, like the Ministry magazines and Mix Mag, and you'd see they'd have like a list of which DJs were playing at which event, like which venues. So then you'd obviously go to those venues. So yeah, kind of like got sort of like you'd follow the DJs that you enjoyed listening to.
Your friend Stuart Wallace is watching. Evening all. So glad to see Claire on here. I have seen her DJing many times. So it sounds like you should.
Yes, hi Stuart.
Sort through her mail.
Yeah, he's Housework and Dirty Stereo. Yeah, it's lovely to sort of see that your music, people like listening to your music, which is always great to know. Because I think there's always that doubt, you play your mixes and there's always that doubt, but it's lovely to hear sort of great feedback from people.
So, well, staying with the time before you actually started DJing, so you were a pretty sort of ardent clubber in your late teens, early 20s, hitting predominantly the London scene. Pretty soon you went beyond. You've been to clubs like Pacha and all sorts. Tell us about the first big night that probably blew you away. Everything just worked. The venue, the music, the lineup, everything was great. Even there was even loo roll in the toilets, which was the first night like that where everything was in sync that you can remember.
I think Ibiza's probably the place, obviously, for me. I've been probably about 7 or 8 times. I went back in, before I had children, myself and my partner actually went with some friends. We spent about 4-5 days out. We had about probably 7 days, actually. The first 4 days was obviously partying, the last few days recovering. But it was such a good time. I think this was probably like mid-2000s.
Right.
So we went to Bora Bora. It was quite a very well-known beach club back then. So we went to Bora Bora. We went to Pacha. Pacha started at midnight. So before that, we did sort of Bora Bora. We did Pacha, which started at midnight. And I think back then, there was Bob Sinclair was on the lineup, and Roger Sanchez. It was very, just sort of eye-opening. You just like walk in and just get that feeling of just wow. So that was really, really cool times. But we also did Space out there back then, obviously. Space.
Space has gone, but that was the one where everybody used to kind of wave at the airplanes, right, as they came in. That was
Bora Bora. So Bora Bora is the one. I've got a couple of pictures on my Facebook from years ago, but people put their hands up and planes go over. So that's out on the beach. Space was the club, but they've also got an open air side to it as well. So again, that was such a great atmosphere. It's a daytime that turns into, it goes on, sort of, it starts daytime and it'll go all the way through. You'd leave the club, get freshened up, and then you'd go to DC10, which is, and after, it starts, I think it started back then at like 2:00. So we did that as well, DC10, which was another sort of great experience. I think we walked in there and we thought, the music was quite hardish. We said, we're staying here for about an hour. 8 hours later, we're still in there dancing and having fun and meeting new people. And it's, really, really good memories, good times.
These pictures are of Pacha on ibizasspotlight.com, which is a pretty cool site if people want to check it out.
It's great to see all those sort of footage, isn't it? And all the memories, especially from back in like 2000s and 90s.
Well, I will tell you up front now, even though I'm an ardent clubber, I've never been to Ibiza.
Oh, really? No, the thing is, it's changed so much now. That's the problem. It's changing so much.
I feel like even if I go now, it will be a very commercial fueled experience. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you need to go to Clockwork Orange. I went to Clockwork Orange in 2019 for Ibiza. They do in July. They run an event there, which is just Clockwork Orange event, and it's people that are probably more sort of mature, sort of 40 to 60s.
Another one is Slip Back in Time.
Isn't it? Yeah, you'd experienced it from the 90s and the 2000s, and it's such a lovely crowd of people. So definitely Clockwork Orange events are a good one to go to. This is actually a friend
of mine in this picture. I had no idea her photo was.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so having the best of times. So these are really great pictures. I love all the podium dancing costumes and stuff like that as well.
Brilliant,
so so what was the moment, the zeitgeist moment, if indeed there was one, where you went from I'm loving this on the dance floor to thinking, I might want to spin a decks? How did that start? What was the
so I think for me that COVID was the time. So obviously we hit COVID, and then it gives you time to reflect, doesn't it, and everything. So I started coming out of COVID. One of my brother's friends, Scott Watson, he's a DJ and music producer, and he was advertising kind of like DJ taster sessions. So I thought, maybe I could give that a go. I had sort of a bit of an urge to, try it. So I spoke to Scott, and he said, "Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Come along, and I'll show you some of the basics." And then just had a few sessions. And since, once I did that, I then invested in just, very cheap pair of some controllers that were like tiny kind of thing. My other half helped me set them up and got all the software sort of downloaded. And that was probably the end of 2021. And then since then, just kind of like stepped up some sort of new equipment, just kept practicing. You start sort of networking, and I actually started getting involved in some. One of my good friends, Daniel Linton, who's part of Mojo Music, actually was doing a private party for a friend, the 50th, and he was running the event. And he said, "Oh, do you want to come along and give us a bit of support?" So that was the first time I sort of ever played, in front of people. So I think from then it's just sort of gradually building your confidence up.
That's probably quite a good idea to sort of. It seems like a lot of people started off with a little private party here and a working men's club there, and something, fairly easy where if things have gone wrong, you wouldn't have been too badly lynched, as opposed to jumping in and doing a, opening set at Coco or as we know it, Cannon Palace. So what would have been the first professional gig for you, and how did that come about?
It was just a local thing, actually, in Basingstoke for a girl called Rosie Goodman, who runs, she doesn't run it anymore, but Good Side Promotions. She was a house music lover, probably a bit more of the younger sort of generation. But she used to run parties in Basingstoke and asked me if I wanted to do like a warm-up set for one of their events. And that would have been in February 2022, I think. So that was the first thing I did. And just really nervous. It was obviously, you always think the worst and think, God, I hope that goes right. I hope this goes right. And just make sure you've prepped and you've got the right sort of music. So that would have been my first sort of ever experience. But I did actually have an experience before that, the month before at Butlins, because I used to go to Butlins Ibiza weekends down in Bognor.
In fact, isn't that on this weekend coming up?
Yeah, so I usually go for my 40th, but I'm not going this weekend. But I did actually have a stint at an after party, and Todd Terry was in the same room. So yeah, that was quite daunting. That was so. The guy that was running it said, "Oh, if you got your memory stick, you want to jump on the decks?" So I think I did that, and it was like about 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, so that was quite a challenge, but I overcome it, and it was, I did it.
I haven't taken the plunge and done a rave event at a holiday park in the UK. I mean, I can see how that makes logic. Yeah, because you've got all the facilities there. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of players in one place, a lot of different, house music lovers, house music DJs, event promoters.
It's basically like a festival, but with much better bars and toilets.
Yes, and it's all over. It's like all covered up like these big sort of marquee things and different massive rooms. Yeah,
because I can't be taking on chemical toilets in my leaner years. I'm just not prepared to do that. So as much as I love my music, I've got to draw a line somewhere. So what's let's talk about the playlist for you, right? I mean, what's the first house music dance track that you heard that's like, boom, you're on the floor? Because for me, just dance music, early dance music, I'm talking, it was always Prodigy, No Good Start the Dance, right? As soon as I heard that, that opening bar come in, I'd be like, wherever I'd be in the club, I'd be on the dance floor within 10 seconds. And then with house, probably like Liquid Harmony or Sweet Liquid Harmony or something like that. What's the one for you?
So mine's probably more where I was more sort of early 2000s. So a lot of it was kind of like Hed Kandi, Kinky Malinki. But the one track that I love is Jocelyn Brown, I believe. Jocelyn Brown, Believe. So it's quite a sort of a magical sound. I think Mark Knight's remixed the track. So that always sort of gets me going.
So that's
quite a powerful song.
I'm going to look that up. In fact, I'm going to add it to my
playlist. Believe, Jocelyn Brown.
Jocelyn Brown, Believe. And then the mix on it, I can see there's quite a few mixes coming up.
There's Mark Knight has done one. The other one is Bad Habit, ATFC by ATFC. That's always a good one that I like.
Believe, Mark Knight, extended remix, 7 minutes 23. All right, I'm gonna. It already sounds familiar as soon as I press play.
You'll know that one.
I'm pretty sure I will. That's been added to the playlist. So, has that been one of the first ones that you remember? Does this influence the choices for lineup?
Yeah, I mean,
take the lineup towards the event, I suppose, is the question.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
Do you orientate the lineup towards the event? Is that the first thing in the forefront of your mind, or is it more, this is the lineup that is the brand of Claire Flanigan, I suppose?
So do you mean, do I have a certain style or?
Well, I mean, different people will have different mixes for different events. If they know that, let's say that an event leans into a certain crowd. If you're a DJ doing an event at Orange, as in Chris Paul's event, you're going to lean into a certain genre and time of house music for that event.
This is the thing, and I think that's the thing where, say, like Mojo Music, which I co-run with 2 other guys, Danny Linton, Gasman Dan, and Rob Randall. Our style tends to be probably more sort of soulful, funky, disco house, whereas some of the other brands like Dirty Stereo tend to be a bit more harder, but maybe a bit more some of the ravier side. So it's like you say, you do have to tailor your sort of mixes. So if I get, and also the time of day that you're playing. So if I'm playing a set, obviously earlier on, you're going to, going a bit softer. A bit later on, you sort of ramp it up. So you definitely have to do a lot more sort of research, listening to different stuff, how things go together. So yeah, definitely lots of preparation.
Tell us more about Mojo Music and how that came about.
So Mojo Music. So I was always, since when I started doing the DJing, it was always a bit of a dream to sort of run parties because I love seeing people sort of having a good time and people coming together. And also in Basingstoke, where we live, there's nothing really that was going on. There was obviously this Good Side Promotions, but that was quite a younger crowd. But there wasn't really anything catered for, like, you know, our sort of generation. So myself, Rob Randall, and Danny Linton and Rob are very experienced DJs. They've been DJing a long time. Also got great, you know, technical experience. So I've sort of, you know, mentioned if they want to come along, we get together and sort of look at hosting these parties. So it's been a great sort of combination. We started off early 2023, and it's been going strength to strength. We do it at a pub called the Bounty Pub in Basingstoke, which is a really nice sort of feel to it. It's got a lovely garden area. And they've just been sort of getting busier and busier, which is brilliant. So
I found the Facebook page for Mojo Music. If people want to follow it, I'm just going to drop that in the chat now, so it's there.
amazing.
And had a quick look. I can see like the four key people in the picture at the top. And
originally there was 4 of us. We've got Paul as well, but he's just having a little break off with his family because he's got young children.
Well, that'll
to focus on
do it. All my friends are saying no one's going raving until February at the minute because everyone's been hit by the the same lurgy that I've got. So
I know.
everyone's taking a break right now. Excuse me.
Yeah, you need to recuperate. I think you get to the winter and you do feel quite burnt out. I think everyone's full pelt, aren't they, throughout the year, and especially when you're working plus doing events and things, it does take it out of you. Yeah,
and I am a bit of a workaholic, but I was definitely going out on New Year's Eve. Nothing was stopping me. So, okay. So, from your sort of first professional gig, what's the first gig that you've done in a venue where for you it felt like in your DJ career, it felt like a little bit of a milestone? It felt like a box tick.
I think I think one of the biggest, earlier this year I played for Dirty Stereo in Amsterdam, and that was back in February. So they basically do a weekender, usually through like 3 days. Everyone sort of gets together, such, you know, lovely crowd, lovely people, such, you know, a wide range of DJs that play for them. So that was, for me, a really big sort of milestone because it was, I mean, for me, these are like, you know, the big boys and quite overwhelming. But Carl Willis, who runs this event, such a lovely, down-to-earth guy. And everyone's so welcoming, you know, people that, like myself, that are new to it, you know, new to the DJing, people take you under their wing, which I've been very lucky, as long, you know, as well as of the Mojo Music guys. Rob and Dan have showed me a lot of things. They've been great mentors. Really, really grateful for people that we've met. So for me, I was on that lineup back in February, and I got to play with some legends. So I'm back there again in March this year.
Yeah, I can see your name is there, both on the right and in the poster here, which is, you know, you've got to have a bit of a sense of pride when you know, it's a bit like if I was doing a play in Holland and my name's up on some billboard. It's the same kind of vibe, isn't it? It's like,
yes, you know, it is. It's overwhelming. So definitely that
what was it like? Give us a sense of how this was different, which part of Amsterdam it was in, because I know the city pretty well.
So so they basically it's central Amsterdam. So it's basically there's a club called Escape, which is quite a well-known club. So they take over Escape, and there's another club called Acton, which is not far from there. I think they do on the Friday night. They do it at Escape, and the Saturday afternoon they have a big boat party. So that is actually hosted by Houses of Feeling in conjunction with Dirty Stereo. You've got Slipmat headlining that. You've got Rat Pack. That's the Saturday afternoon, and then it goes into the Saturday night, which they then go to another club. So it's, you know, it's quite full on. There's lots going on, But this year they've added an extra night on the Thursday night. So it used to be the Friday that you'd go out, but we're going to fly out on the Thursday night and then come back Sunday. But most people come back Monday, but we've got to get back for the kids Sunday afternoon. So it's a brilliant weekend.
So I mean, in terms of numbers, and it's an event in Amsterdam, you must have sort of hardcore ravers, both of your generation and of my generation. So it's quite a wide range coming from all over Europe for this thing, you know.
Yeah, I think there's people that travel from all over England that go to it, Europe, Ireland. Everyone sort of, travels from different areas. Everyone's, got that love for house music, and people just want to dance, basically. So really, really nice bunch of people. And the Dirty Stereo events, actually, that are held throughout the year in the UK are another good event to go to. Really good.
Yeah. I unfortunately, the one that I could have gone to clashed with something I already had a ticket for this year, but I will do my best to get to one in.
They've got I think they've just announced one in the summer, actually, which should be on their website.
System Failure 4, welcome to the chat. Thank you for popping in. Something tells me with that name, you're something to do with the music world. You mentioned Houses of Feeling, which they combine the boat party with. That's the Reed brothers, I believe, who are also doing Houses of Feeling event at Coco on 15th of February.
There's a lot of people on that lineup.
I think I was the first person to buy a ticket for that. So
I've not been to one of those events yet. I need to get to one.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're good. I do like the music, have to say, and they've been pretty consistent. Their events, their Hello Rave event was especially good. I know that there's about 3 events this weekend. That, of course, they all clash, and you can't go to everything.
But, the thing it's so many events at the minute, isn't it? It's saturated. It's really saturated industry at the minute. It's so much.
Yeah, I've said it to people that have come on before that I've interviewed from this scene. We are living in something of an amazing time, because I remember when I went clubbing, and it was in London. It was only for a year. It was 92 to 93, give or take a few months. It wasn't like I looked at Time Out, who were pretty on the ball with what to recommend you. And it wasn't like there were like 20 or 30 things. There were like maybe 2 or 3 things, 2 or 3 events that were to my tastes. And that would be, Bagley's. There might be something happening in East London. And maybe one or 2 other events. But there wasn't like, I wasn't spoilt for choice. Now that I've got back on the scene again, and I'm going out dancing as often as I can, on any given week, it's 3 or 4 massive events, let alone little events. There's like 3 or 4 massive events on any given weekend, and a lot of them gravitate towards the same weekend. So the competition is fierce, and it's always quite hard to decide where to spend your buck, because we're all feeling the pinch a bit.
This is it, and it's expensive, isn't it? I mean, it's like you travel, drinks. You've got to be quite wise with your choices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite lucky. I'm quite lucky in the sense that I'm well located on the tube, 20 minutes in and out of London for me. So the cost of travel is not too bad, and I've got loads of friends that come in from out of London. So they do choose their events quite carefully, and I think if I can give any feedback, I went to 34 events in 2024. If I can ever give any feedback as a whole to people, 21 particular event is don't oversell your event, because there were 2 that I went to that were oversold, and my God, people were not happy.
Busy, I bet.
Queuing out to get into the cloakroom is not anyone's idea of a good time.
No.
And everybody's unhappy. The staff, not in the best of moods because people have been snapping at them, and of course it's not their fault. So by all means, pack out an event, make it fun, but don't go too.
You can't go too crazy, can you?
As Alan Partridge says, don't go mad with the minibar.
No.
There's a picture of Escape from Holland, which I have been to Oh God, man, this must have been ages ago. Can't remember. Sometime in the 2000s, I think. It's probably a lot different now. And this is one of the main venues for the Dirty Weekend, or Amsterdamage, as it's known to a lot of people. So,
Yes.
going out there for 5 nights. I'm going on my first, what I would call, rave holiday. I'm going to Unity in Corfu.
Yes. I went to Corfu that September.
Yeah, Unity in the Sun in May. The one good thing, apart from the fact that I had some British Airways vouchers, so I didn't have to pay for my flight because I was able to use them. They've done an all-inclusive price, which covers club entry and your hotel. Seems pretty reasonable. Does Dirty Stereo do a pretty similar system?
Yes, yeah. So if you go onto their website, they do like a you can do like a day ticket or a certain night, one night ticket, or you can do like a whole weekend ticket. But there's different. Also, I've got a discount code as well. So if you go into it, and I think it's Claire F, you'll get a certain percentage off. I think it's like 5%.
Are you allowed to say that?
Oh, yes, I've got it on my socials, so it's fine.
Have you? Okay, well, in that case, we'll advertise it then.
Yeah.
So, a bit of a plug for Dirty Stereo. If you use the code Claire F, and if that code is no longer working after tonight, well, I think you know why. Someone's been watching and has quickly invalidated it. Bless you, sir. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that. Do check out the other industry interviews. This is number 93. So in 2 years. So this is Thursday to Sunday. It's 129. Is that right? That's 129 pounds for to access the clubbing events. Is that right?
Yes. So you'll basically get a wristband. You'll get a nice goodie bag. And that gives you access to all of the events. You don't have to go to all of them. You can just dip in, dip out. So that's for all of the events.
No,
so
it's not bad though. That's a pretty reasonable cost.
Yeah. So this is actually Thursday night. They've added an extra night. So yes, you've got the Thursday night, the pre-party, Friday to Sunday. So you've got Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and then the Sunday they have like more of a chill out sort of day. Where they have food and sort of it goes on sort of throughout the day at I think it's called the Cashmere. They've got it on the website. Cashmere Lounge, I think.
One thing about Amsterdam, having stayed there on 3 occasions, all of them equally entertaining for different reasons. One thing that's an issue with that city is accommodation. There's not a lot of it. What there is quite expensive. It always involves loads of staircases. Which is inevitable if you stay in Amsterdam. Have they sorted out anything in terms of packages with accommodation or anything like that?
Yeah, I believe if you go to the website again, they give you a list of preferred hotels, and I think they've basically secured some rates with them. Right. But also, again, bookings.com, they've got some good deals on at the minute.
So, hello. That's. I'm guessing this is for last year, perhaps.
Yeah, that was the most recent.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that. You can't go to that. That's gone. Okay, so I'm just looking to see where one would go to find accommodation recommendations because I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. Hotels. Okay. We've kept the same hotels as last time. Some of you are used to them, and we didn't hear of any issues. Okay, and you can choose. You've got 3. You've got 4-star there if you want a couple of 4 stars. If you want 4-star, if you want to go 1-star, you can. So basically a range of hotels connected to the event to suit your budget. That's pretty good. All right. Very good. So in terms of you playing at one of these events, I've got a sense of what the event itself is like, but what is it like for Claire? Is it all business? You're kind of wheeled off the plane, you go and do your set and you're wheeled back on again, or are you out there partying as well? You going dancing as well? What
yes,
is it like?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and to be fair, there's a couple of other DJs on the list that I'll be there to support. Jack James, Paul Wolf, Brooksy. There's some really good DJs that we've met along the way. Also the lady DJs, Marion Key.
Love Marion.
Yeah, Shady Lady. So it's always nice to see other female DJs. Mark Apps is another one of my favourites. So yeah, so definitely I'll be there having a dance for sure.
We are trying to convince Marion to come on the channel for an interview. I got to spend part of New
she's
Year's
one of my
Eve.
inspirations.
Oh yeah,
One of my inspirations.
I can see your journey has been quite similar to hers. And she's a little bit shy, but we're working on it. We're working on it. So I'm hoping.
Oh, she's a lovely lady.
She is. She's one of the most glamorous looking DJs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I did a good chat with her at Amsterdam last year, actually, because it's always nice to sort of get advice and chat to other people and about their journey. So she gave me lots of advice and things, which is really nice of her.
No, absolutely. I can completely concur with that. What would you say if we stick with the DJing journey in particular? As a woman accessing this scene now, well, in the last 2 years, what have been the challenges? What have been the difficulties? And what have been the hurdles? And
I think
we'll come on to the positives in a minute, so we won't just focus on the negatives. But what have been the challenges?
I think for me, at the beginning I was kind of like saying yes to a lot. You know, you say yes to everything because you want to get opportunities and you want to. For me, it's always about learning and gaining confidence and just trying to sort of like improve myself, like technicals, side of things. So you say, is any opportunity that comes up, you sort of agree to it. So I think now, after those sort of last few years, I've noticed it does. It's very time consuming when you're sort of, you're balancing work as well as with a family. You've got a partner, running a household. It is, it does take time. You need time to obviously listen to your tracks and, practice mixing, doing recordings. Plus, you've then got to go out and DJ at the event. So again, that takes time. So I think it really is just sort of balancing it as much as you can, and not.
I think that's something that a lot of creative people struggle to get right. I mean, because let's face it, Hollywood has not got a great track record of, long-term marriages surviving. Obviously, let's applaud Kevin Bacon and Kyra Sedgwick for their incredible marriage that's lasted forever. They've been together as long as I can remember. But I mean, what do you do to maintain that balance? What are the tips? I asked Gail Ann Hurd the same question, and she said, "Don't ask me. I've got 3 failed marriages." So.
I think, I mean, my children are 12 and 16. I've got a really supportive partner who I've been with for like 29 years. So we met back in 95, I think it was. We were both really young. But we're not, he's not so much into the scene. He's kind of like, it's quite nice in a way. He has a different taste in music. He's still, he loves my Mojo events and he supports me for that and comes to those. But it's not his, passion. It's my passion. So I think having our separate interests probably does help a little bit, because otherwise it can take over. I think it can. Yeah.
So in a sense, it's good that you're not kind of joined at the hip. You've got your own thing that you do. But he does come to support you, sort of when you feel it's needed, or when he wants.
Absolutely. That's it. And he's coming to Amsterdam with me, which would be nice. And I guess for us, because the children are still quite young, we can't always go out, do things together. And he can't always be there with me because I have to sort of rely on my mum, for people to look after the younger one. So it's just getting that right balance. But he is coming with me to Amsterdam, so we can also have some time as well, which would be nice.
What would you say going forward? What are the ideal goals for you? Are there any particular like event brands that you would love to collaborate with and be involved with on their lineup? I think in terms of personal goals, want to get on the creative side. I mean, just tell us everything.
I think one of the events that's been really good to me is Housework, which is, for me, it's quite a massive event that I basically founded back in 2020. So that was at Butlins, actually. So that was before I was DJing. And then I got into the DJing, and they were actually gave me a sort of a, starting ground. I sort of had a gig that I did for them on a boat party on the Thames back in 2023. So they've been really good to me. Twice I've played for them in Corfu. They do usually like a 4-day event. They do a 4-day package or 7-day package. And Matt May, Gary Simpson, Mark Anderson that run that.
I'm guessing this is the right website for the Housework. Is this the right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So so they've been brilliant and really love their events. They've got lots in the pipeline for 2025, and I'll be going along to support DJs there and dancing. So we're back with them Corfu in September, which should be good. So
what is unique about a Housework event over another house music event? What about it is different for you?
I think with these events you can just be yourself. People are so down to earth. There's most people are sort of parents or their grandparents, and it's just really it's got that real family vibe. You get sort of you meet people, and then you'll see them again at the different events throughout the year. So then you build up a nice relationship with people. So I've met some lovely people, and I've got some good friends that I've made along the way there. So really supportive people as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've really picked up on. I think I've interviewed about 4 or 5 DJs now, and this is definitely one of the things that myself and Adele and Daya discussed when we had her on, is that relationship between the DJ and their sort of core group of fans. These are the fans that kind of, want the pictures with them, that plug all their stuff. It's almost like your own little social media army for free, and I've seen how different DJs treat their fans at different events, and it sort of ranges from I'm a god, but I might let you come near me for a couple of minutes, to the complete opposite of that, of let me come and dance on the dance floor with you for a bit. I'm just a regular person.
Absolutely.
And hanging out with you like, they're one of your mates for a few minutes. Now, I appreciate an event with 3,000 people in it or whatever, at Ibiza or Corfu or wherever that may be. That sort of level of normality for someone, either before or after their set, and probably not during, is not necessarily that easy. So it's not easy for everybody to do that. But what I have noticed is, even with some of the big DJs, is that they deliberately run small events with limited numbers where they can have that experience for themselves. They can have that connection with their audience. So how important is the connection with the audience for you?
So important, definitely. I think, again, I'm still sort of learning. I'm still very new to it all. But I think it always helps when you see people in the audience there that you recognise, or people that have said to me when I've played at Housework or Dexter, and they're like, we're going to come along and support you. And back at Housework, when I played for them on the boat, a lot of my friends came along that I've met along the way, and they had these like sashes that said Lady Flanigan, and got a lovely picture, which was brilliant. And it was it was really quite emotional, actually, because you just think, you sort of a bit like, why, they come for me, which was really, really lovely, really nice.
So there's a few events. Were you at any of these?
Yeah, so the one back at Shipwrecked at the top, that's who I played. I played this one twice. I've played on the boat.
So Housework, is it? I've heard of another event called Clockwork. Are they connected, or is there no relation?
So Clockwork was probably the one that I went to first. So they are massive. Clockwork's probably a lot bigger. Right. But I would say that Housework has been the one for me that I feel more connected. I'm going to a Clockwork event probably this year, but Housework for me, I feel more connected with.
So they're two separate brands.
Two separate brands, yeah. And I think, Housework, it's just, they're getting big. They've got massive I think they've been running for about 6 years, and every year they seem to be getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, I think they've just been so supportive with my DJ sort of starting off.
Well, yeah, I recognise a few of these suspicious characters.
Yeah, a lot of them, a lot of people I've met and got friends and a lot of these pictures.
Yeah,
R.D. King, the chap there in the black, he's the guy that probably started it off for me, because he's one of the sound engineers that I sent a mix to. I spoke to him about when I first had got into it, and he said, "Oh, send me one of your mixes." So I sent it to him, and he sent it to Housework, to Matt May, and that's how I got onto getting a set with them.
Great stuff. So, is that something
also involved in dance stereo?
Is that something that you do at home? I suppose you could call it a bit like a DJ's gym, in the sense that an actor has to keep performing. If they don't perform for 10 years, their acting is not going to be as good as it was 10 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
Is that something? Yeah, you got to mix, and you got to. So, do you do that in your spare time?
Yeah, so I think when I mean, around the children, I practice mixing and obviously listening to new music, and when I've done a few guest mixes in the last sort of six months or so, last year's done sort of like radio guest mixes. Another event is called Club Sweetness, so I've recently just done did like a live stream for them on New Year's Eve.
The Studio 54 type.
Yeah, Club Sweetness. They're based in London by a guy called Nathan J, who runs that, along with some other DJs, Jay Stammers and Paul Wolf. He runs those. It usually does about 2 or 3 parties a year. I've played for them twice last year, and then again on New Year's Eve did like a live stream with them. So they've got an event that I'm going to be attending to go dancing over Easter. I think it's on the Easter weekend, I think it is. So that's another one to go to, Club Sweetness. That's a really good one.
I've just been trying to get some images of them from Google. For anybody who does a Google search, Club Sweetness on Instagram, a cute place for sweet things, is not the Club Sweetness page. So don't be going there. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions in the chat.
And Mixcloud.
Before we begin to wrap up, and if anybody in the chat wants to ask Claire a question, now is the time, because we ain't going to go much longer than an hour today, due to my poor state. Claire, what DAW or DAW do you use? You see, now I'm going to freely admit I haven't got a clue what that is. Explain to us what it is.
Not too sure.
Not too sure. I feel like this is someone's testing you with a DJ technical question.
Probably, yeah. Workstation. So for me, obviously with my setup, I use Recordbox. I used to use Serato when I started out. There's so many different software packages you can sort of use, but Recordbox seems to be the go-to. And obviously my controllers, you can get loads of different controllers. I just started off on some DJ Hercules were mine. And they just stepped up some new marks and then went on to Pioneer.
Right, I'm just looking at so it's recordbox.com, record spelt with a K. I'm going to drop that in the chat for people who want to check out that package, in case we have any inspiring DJs watching.
Yeah. I think I also think for me, a lot of DJs do a lot of live streaming from home, like via Mixcloud, or you can sort of do things from home. So that's something else I'd maybe look into once the kids sort of get a bit older.
So we've got another question here. What is your favorite track of all time? That's like being asked what your favorite movie of all time is. I'll simplify it for you a little bit. Let's say you've got 3 tracks you can take somewhere with you on a really long journey. What's going to be in that 3?
Oh, the 3. Well, one of the tracks that I do love, obviously I mentioned Jocelyn Brown Believe, because I've always feel that's quite I've got that Chicago sound to it, and I always get that sort of magical, spiritual feel to that. The other one that I love is Saltwater by Chicane.
Oh, I'm a bit of a Chicane fan.
Yeah, I love that. I love that track, and I think it always used to get me at the end of, like, after I've been out sort of to an event or something. I'd always like to put that on when I got home.
Yeah, it's quite a good sort of chill. Not quite ready to go to sleep yet, but you put something on that's not too hardcore. That's quite a good.
It's a bit like Orbital.
Yeah,
that sort of scene. I used to love Prodigy as well back in the day.
Yeah, although that is a bit more upbeat and like let's get dancing, But
Prodigy always.
Have you seen the recent Prodigy tour?
One of my friends went. I haven't been, but I know a few people that have.
So I was at Peach Goes Hard, and somebody says, "Lance, you want to come over and talk to John?" And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Who's John?" Cut long story short, John is the sound mixer for the Prodigy, and he always has been from day one. And he's going to come on the channel and give an interview. So
Amazing.
That's going to be interesting. I've never had a sound mixer on before, so looking forward to that. What have you got? I mean, apart from Dirty Stereo, what else have you got coming up? Is there anything else you want to plug? You want to thank your mum. This is that time.
So obviously Mojo Music, which is based in Basingstoke, we're hosting those at the Bounty pub. We've got 4 dates that we've booked in with them. We've got Saturday the 8th of February. We've got Saturday the 3rd of May, which we'll have a guest DJ for that one. We've also got the 5th of July booked and the 30th of August. So those are our dates for Mojo Music. And then I've got a few private parties that I've got booked. I've got one on the 2nd of Feb, which is for an old friend, actually, that I used to go to places like the Cross and Turnmills. It's a friend's 50th. So she's asked me if I'd play a set. She's got a few other DJs that she's got booked. So she's asked me to play a set for her then. And then there's also another event called Yes Sir, which is actually a charity event that one of my good friends, Will Matthews, is hosting, and that's going to be for the charity Dementia. So it's a massive lineup of DJs. You can get tickets online if you go to on Facebook if you click on type in Yes Sir.
I'm worried about what will come up on Google if I put that in, but let me put Yes Sir music event. Right.
It's called Remember Me. So it's Yes Sir presents Remember Me, and that's on the 10th of May. Massive lineup of DJs, including Saya. They've got Serena and Jez from My House. You've got Gary Simpson from Housework, Marion Key, Louis Miller, Wolfie, Jack James, Warren Peaty, and many more. Obviously, Will. So that's going to proceeds go to charity. So that's a really good event.
That sounds like an amazing event. For some reason, I can't find the link online. I'm getting sent all kinds of weird.
That would be on Facebook. I'm not sure if it's on. It's on Facebook if you put in Yes Sir.
The date for that is. Give us the date for that again.
10th of May.
10th of May. Okay.
Yeah.
I won't be at that one because it's too close to Unity for me, but I'm sure there'll be other people who will be interested.
But that's that would be a good one.
Okay. Those are the things I've been putting into Google, people. See if you can do better than me. Right. Well, Claire, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time.
Yeah, thank you.
About your career. Is there anything else you'd like to say or cover before we sign off?
I think that's everything. I think obviously, like I said, the Mojo Music dates, be great to get you onto those. They're a free event that we run, and also all of the other event, Housework, Dirty Stereo. Just check out their websites, Club Sweetness. They're all great parties to go to.
The links for all of Marion's socials are already in the blurb below. You can read a little bit more about her there as well. I have already put the link for Dirty Stereo Amsterdam in there. Any others that I'm missing, I'm sure Marion will pass them on to me and I can edit and add them in later. And like all of the other interviews on this channel, this one will stay there. This is interview 93. I've got 4 more this week, even in my weakened state. As long as this is the only thing I'm doing work-wise, that's fine, because we don't like cancelling on the Outcast Creative. Also say to the people watching, don't forget, this channel is called the Outcast Creative for a reason. If you are a creative person, whether that's you work in music, film, television, theatre, you might have your own little theatre company and you're about to do a play that's very important to you in the city of Hull, and you might need a bit of advertising, or you're designing your first board game and you're about to put it on Kickstarter, or like Claire, you're an up-and-coming DJ, you've done your first couple of professional gigs, you'd like to get a bit of support the next time you're playing Ministry of Sound. Who knows? Get in touch with us either via the Outcast Creative Facebook page or my Twitter handle, Lance Nielsen WD. Again, all the links for that blurb are all down below. And if I can get you on, I will, because we are here to support you. We do film reviews and stuff like that. But the industry interviews are the backbone of this channel, basically. So don't be afraid to get in touch. I have to have something to look at, but that aside, you know, as long as you're a creative, I'm always interested. Claire, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for being my first guest of 2025.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been really great.
All right, no problem. I told you it would fly by in no time. We could have.
It does go quick.
Yeah, we could have easily gone for another hour and probably would have done if Inside Man had been here. But he could, for whatever reason, his computer wasn't working. So thanks for that, mate. I had to croak my way through. But anyway, I made it just about. So I have, and this is a creative channel. I'm an acting coach, a writer, director. I've also got a new book out, Silver Screen Journeys. Do check that out. It's available on Amazon. It's my life through 101 times that I went to the cinema. There's a couple of rave stories in there as well. But we also create music on this channel, so we're going to sign off with our song. Here it comes.
Dreamers get innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise, and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Filmmakers, comic book creators, stand up proud. Actors, musicians, board game designers, be loud. At Outcast Creative, amazing's the word. He even interviewed the legend, Galen Hurd. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. So come along, take a chance. Join the Outcast, hang with Lance. Bring your vision, your art, your flair. At Outcast Creative, there's always room to share. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew.